My parents neglected me and turned all their love to my brother. Now, they accuse me of holding all those past mistakes because I refused to let them move into my huge house. Growing up, my parents had a rough marriage. It was fighting constantly, shouting matches that either handed in one of them crying or the cops began calling. They would avoid each other as much, which in turn meant neglecting me since they didn't want to be in the same room. I had to pick one or none. I hated them for that. It felt like they hated each other more than they loved me. I had to beg them for hours on end to show up, and when they said yes, they both wouldn't say they thought the other one would show. I stopped doing so when I was around 12 to 14. They didn't seem to care, which gutted me, but what would have been the point of trying? Well, when I was 16, my dad ended up having a stroke. He didn't die and it didn't have much negative effect on him, but it was a scare. My mom for the first time was crying, held and kissed him. I guess that's how they started to reconnect. Because they began to try to pretend to be a good couple and good parents, which pissed me off. They tried apologizing and showing up for me, but quickly stopped when she got pregnant with my baby brother. Then now they were the perfect parents. They showed him affection and everything I wanted. He got so easily. I hated him, and even now, though it's not his fault, I can't stand him. I was able to see that they could be better parents but chose to be crappy for me. I didn't bond with him, which saddened my parents, but I didn't care. I went to college in another country and cut contact with them. Now our contact is minimal for my kids, but not a lot. They don't commute here and I'm not going to lose hours making money for them, so it's strange that my mom makes comments all the time about wanting to see her grandkids. But she can just come here if she wants. Whenever I tell her this, she says they can't afford it and expects me to pay, which I would never do. Now onto the problem. Last January I bought a really big family home with 6 beds and 4 baths. My kids and wife love it. It's beside really nice schools and is a gorgeous house. It has an in-law suite, which most of these houses have. My parents and brother didn't find out till last week because I keep my life offline and the house looks similar to our old one. So looking at my wife's socials, you'd think it's the same one. When they found out, they were shocked and pretended to be happy for me for a bit before they started complaining about all the health issues they were facing. I told them if they thought I'd move them and they're stupid. That sent them off, and they called me heartless and cold for still holding all those past mistakes onto them. My mom asked if I was fine, knowing she could die and my kids wouldn't be able to say bye to her. I told her that's her own problem. I told them they have their perfect son right there, and they can only expect him to care for them, never me. I kept yelling, and I just cut the phone. I've ignored their calls and messages.